Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Uh, we were discussing nutrition, and I know that from your previous lectures you must have become scholars of scholars of nutrition regarding balanced diet and regarding the basic food nutrients. However, today we will discuss under this chapter of nutrition, undernutrition and protein energy malnutrition. Now, what is malnutrition? Malnutrition, it is a pathological state and it results from either absolute deficiency or relative deficiency or excess of one or more essential nutrients. So you see, either deficiency or excess both cause malnutrition, and malnutrition it manifests as undernutrition, overnutrition or obesity, and imbalance of dietary factors. And number 4 is the specific deficiency like हमने अभी विटामिन ए डेफिशिएंसी पढ़ी थी, डी पढ़ी थी, ठीक है ना. So specific nutrient deficiency, all these 4 they come under the heading of malnutrition, and we will consider today undernutrition. Now, what is undernutrition? Undernutrition, it is a condition which results when insufficient food is eaten over an extended period of time. I'm sorry. So undernutrition, it is deficiency of calories or of one or more of essential nutrients. When this undernutrition it goes on continuously, then in extreme conditions we call it as starvation. Undernutrition develops, why? Because either the people they cannot obtain the food, or they are not cooking or preparing the food correctly, or they are having certain disorder which makes them eating food difficult, mouth ka kuch bhi, gums, teeth, right? And then sometimes malabsorption syndromes which do not allow the food to absorb properly. So undernutrition it will result. These causes, these are both of the adults as well as the children. However, today we will consider undernutrition specially with reference to the infants and under 5 children. So, undernutrition in infants, number 1 is when the child is born of low birth weight, less than 2500 grams. Low birth weight children, they are very much prone to undernutrition. Then of course, if they are not breastfed properly, then they are prone to undernutrition. And they are not provided with the weaning foods. Weaning foods are this introduction of semi-solid foods at the age between 4 to 6 months. And when proper weaning is not done, then of course the child develops the signs and symptoms of undernutrition, and there are repeated infections because his defense system is weak, immunity is weak, he is prone to infection, and this raises very high morbidity rates. Of course, he falls victim to the infection, and when there is infection, then again he is not taking proper diet, and further deprivation of proper nutrition again predisposes to the infection, and a vicious circle is set, which increases the morbidity of the infants. So you see how much important this is. Proper nutrition for the infants, it is very essential, it is very vital. And of course, if we are not providing, then the countries, not only the morbidity but of course the mortality rate will also rise. and we were considering the factors. Then again there are so many varied factors they are involved, in which of course socioeconomic status, if the parents are the poor and they are not providing him the proper diet, then of course socioeconomic status and environmental conditions, repeated infections, EPI, diseases related infections, yes, the child is not properly immunized, immunization is not given, and of course there are so many reasons, household conditions, when cross ventilation is not taking place, when all are living in very small congested areas, when proper sunlight is not present, there are so many factors which are involved. And of course in the end there is illiteracy, when the mother is not aware, when she is very young, repeated pregnancies they are taking place, she is not able to breastfeed, she is always occupied. So many factors they contribute towards the undernutrition of the infants, and of course maternal factors, environmental factors, they all play their role. So on the global scale, there are 5 principal nutritional deficiency diseases, and we list them according to the priority. Number 1 and number 2, they both are collectively called as protein, energy, malnutrition, and we will discuss them today. Xerophthalmia you have discussed with me previously, and of course nutritional anemia, endemic goiter, you are going to discuss all these problems which result from the malnutrition. So malnutrition, either over or under, and we are considering undernutrition, and under this heading we will consider both marasmus, or number 2 is the kwashiorkor. Both these are collectively, they come under the heading of protein, energy, malnutrition. There are so many effects on the child when the child is undernourished. There are short-term effects, there are long-term effects. In the short-term effects, growth is retarded. You see, when you have visited BHUs and RSCs, then you have seen there the growth chart where LHWs, they ask the mothers to bring their infants monthly so that they can weigh them, they can record their weight, and of course they can compare whether the child is gaining weight or whether the child is losing weight, growth chart. So if the child is malnourished or he is not provided with the proper dietary requirements of his body, then there will be growth retardation. These are the short-term effects: loss of appetite, poor absorption, and of course when diet is deficient, then immunity of the child that will be disturbed. He will be prone to infections. These are the short-term effects of undernutrition, and in the long-term effects we will see stunting, wasting, all these. Then of course cognitive development will not take place as the child grows older. There will be attention deficit disorder. He will not be paying attention properly in his school performance, that will be impaired, and of course impaired memory, social skills. All these are the end result of undernutrition. So as I have told you that protein, energy, malnutrition usually starts in the first year of life, and we will consider both the kwashiorkor and the marasmus. And what is the incidence? Now, the National Nutritional Survey of Pakistan 2018, it shows the figures that total percentage of children under 5 years of age who are underweight, they are 33%. And those children who are stunted, they are 44%. And the wasted children, they are 15%. As we have discussed that protein, energy, malnutrition, it is because of the inadequate intake of food, both quantity में as well as the quality में. And of course, when the child is getting infections, repeated infections, then of course malnutrition occurs. And the first indicator of protein, energy, malnutrition is underweight. The child is not, his weight is not according to the reference weight for his age, right? Weight will not be according to the reference weight of his age. This is the picture which shows a child with marasmus. And what are the features of marasmus? Here muscle wasting is obvious. You can see muscle wasting is obvious. There is no subcutaneous fat on the body. Loss of subcutaneous fat, and you can see the body is not showing any signs of edema. There is no edema. You can see the rib cage so visible, clavicles, shoulder blade behind, all the bones, they are so much visible, obvious, because there is no subcutaneous fat, no edema. And then the weight for height is very low. This is the characteristic feature of marasmus, that weight for height, it is very low. Mental changes, the child will lay quietly or apathetic. He will not be very attentive. Here, there is no skin changes and there is no hair loss here. यहाँ पे बच्चे के बाल नज़र नहीं हमें आ रहे. However, in marasmus, there are no changes in the hair and the skin. आप देख रहे हो ना कहीं पे pigmentation है ना कहीं पे depigmentation है. So the skin changes, they are also none in marasmus. This picture, it shows what is wasting and what is stunting. This is the normal number one. If child, it's right from the right side, from the left side, the normal child with the normal height and weight, it is a reference child. Then is the second one, it is showing wasting. Here the weight is low for height. What is wasting? When the weight of the child is low for his height, जो कि रेफरेंस हाइट होगी बाकी सारे बच्चों की, उस हाइट के मुताबिक the weight will be low. This is called as wasting. And we have seen that statistics show that 44% of the children in the Pakistan, they are showing wasting. And then is this stunting. Stunting, height, low height for age. Low height for age. And what is underweight? Underweight is low weight for age. Underweight when the weight is less as compared to all the other children, reference children. When the weight is low, the child is called as underweight. and we have 33% of incidence of underweight children. Then we have 44% stunted and 15% wasted children. These are the different manifestations of undernutrition. And then we come to the kwashiorkor child, and kwashiorkor child, you can see this picture and you can compare it with the marasmic child, and you can see the differences. Here there was muscle wasting, and the subcutaneous fat, there was no subcutaneous fat. Here you see that pot belly child, he is showing protuberant belly, not the pot belly, protuberant belly, and edema is present because there is edema, and subcutaneous fat is not wasted here, but you can see the skin, it has changed the color. Skin is flaky. Muscle wasting is hidden by edema and fat, and edema, it is present mainly in the lower legs, on the face and the lower arms. Appetite is poor. marasmic child की appetite good थी, इसकी appetite poor है, and skin shows diffuse pigmentation and flaky dermatosis. Skin, there will be in the patches form, skin will show flaky dermatosis, and here they are very sparse, silky, and they can be very easily pulled out. The child is irritable, he is moaning, he is apathetic. So these are the two different pictures of protein energy malnutrition. One is kwashiorkor and one is marasmus. This is the vicious cycle of malnutrition. Number 1, inadequate dietary intake. When the dietary intake, it is not sufficient, it is inadequate, of course it will reduce the immunity of the child, and it will lead to certain type of infections. Now infections, especially diarrhea, very common. Then you see, when there is diarrhea also, so nutrients, they will not be absorbing, and then again immunity will be low, and again the child becomes susceptible to infection, and also respiratory tract infections, they are very much common. And if the child is not immunized against EPI diseases, then the respiratory infections or EPI infections, they, especially the measles, the child is prone to all these infections. Then of course worm infestation, this can also manifest. Enteric infections comes diarrhea also, and of course worms infestations also. So all these will again lead to malabsorption, and of course malabsorption, so this will of course increase the child mortality. That is why our mortality under 5 children, infant mortality, both these figures, they are very high, because the statistics also show that Pakistan has a large number of malnourished children. So all these statistics of morbidity and mortality of infants and under 5 children, they are very high. Now how can we assess that the child, he is having protein energy malnutrition? Right, of course the child was born with the low birth weight, and he is not gaining the weight properly. Weight is less, height is less, so we have labeled him as he is suffering from protein energy malnutrition. Now there are two types of classifications, and they help us to, so that we can classify the child. Number one is Gomez classification, and number two is Waterloo classification. The Gomez classification, it is based on weight retardation, right? It is based on weight retardation. You can calculate weight for the age in percentage. You will write down weight of the child, and then you will divide it from the weight of the normal child of the same age and multiply it with 100 to get the percentage. So you will get weight for age percentage, and then you will classify whether it will fall between 90 and 110 percentage. This is the normal nutritional status, or it is between 75 and 89%. Then it comes the first degree mild malnutrition, and when it is between 60 and 74%, this is second degree moderate malnutrition. When it is under 60%, then you call it as third degree severe malnutrition. So this Gomez classification, it is based on weight retardation. Here you know the weight of the child, and you have got the reference weight of the normal child of the same age, and you get the percentage, and then you compare. And if the percentage comes under 60%, you call it as third degree severe malnutrition, and when it is above 90, you call it as normal nutritional status, right? So this was the Gomez classification. And then the second is Waterloo's classification. When a child age is known, measurement of weight, almost instant monitoring of growth. Measurements of height, they assess the effect of the nutritional status on long-term growth. Waterloo's classification, it tells us or defines two groups for protein energy malnutrition. Number one is the malnutrition with retarded growth, in which a drop in the height per age ratio. This will tell us that this is a chronic condition. This is called as stunting. So Waterloo's classification tells us about the stunting and also about the wasting. Malnutrition, how it tells us about the wasting? Malnutrition with a low weight for a normal height. Here weight is low for a normal height, in which the weight for height ratio is indicative of an acute condition of rapid weight loss. So the wasting, this shows us about the acute weight loss. And when we are talking about the stunting, here tells us about the chronic condition. You should better go and you see in your books, so that you will be very, because these are very important. The overall topic of malnutrition is very important. The overall differences, of course, between marasmus and kwashiorkor, they are very important. This Gomez classification, this Waterloo's classification, they are very important. And also we assess from the mid upper arm circumference how the child is nourished. Mid upper arm circumference, we measure with a measuring tape between the uh, of course we measure the shaft of the humerus midway, and from the measuring tape, and then we see if the arm circumference it exceeds 13.5 centimeter, then we call it that the nutritional status this is satisfactory. When 13.5 सेंटीमीटर्स एक्सीड कर जाएगा, उसका मिड अपर आर्म सर्कमफ्रेंस जो आपने measuring tape से measure किया है, it should exceed 13.5 centimeters. However, when it is between 12.5 and 13.5 centimeters, then this is mild to moderate malnutrition. And when it is below 12.5 centimeters, then it is severe malnutrition. You are supposed to read all these things from your textbook and learn them, because these are all university questions. And when you will go for the visit of the school, then of course you are yourself doing this mid upper arm circumference. You are doing nutritional assessment in the children of that particular school, and you are supposed to measure also the mid upper arm circumference. So all these are very important. Now, so because we don't want to increase our morbidity and mortality of the children, we don't want that our children they should suffer from malnutrition, so we have to prevent it. And you know all your 5 levels of prevention: health promotion, specific protection, early diagnosis and prompt treatment, disability limitation and rehabilitation. Now in health promotion, number 1, you are educating the mother. Health education is very very important. You are educating the mother for the promotion of breastfeeding, exclusive breastfeeding for the first 4 months, and then of course from 4 to 6 months you are educating the mother about the weaning food. So you are giving her nutritional educations, and of course this is the time when you will motivate her for family planning, so that there should be a gap of 3 or more, whatever she wants, but of course there should be a gap so that she should pay attention to this particular child. She can make the weaning food, she can properly give the supplement foods to the baby, so if she has got the time, right? And also she can breastfeed. Of course she should not expect very soon the other. So the primary prevention हमने promote करें health, and in all this of course family planning, advice, motivation, this is very important. Then specific protection here, of course, because we are dealing with protein energy malnutrition, so we will guide the mother about the foods which are rich in protein and energy, so that the baby should be fed on these foods, and of course the cutoff values they should be met. Then we will motivate her for immunization of her child, and of course with food fortification. What is food fortification? It is to fortify the food with the extra vitamins like vitamin A and D. So we will advise for the utilization of food fortification. Then this was all about the primary prevention, health promotion, specific protection. Literacy of the mother is also very very important here. Literacy of the mother, so that she can शी शुड बी अवेयर कि भाई गर्मी है सर्दी है, हाउ टू किस तरह से बच्चे को मैंने प्रोटेक्ट करना है फ्रॉम द harsh weather conditions, of course, and how to manage the lactation. So literacy is also very much important. Age of the mother also plays a role. Then we come to the early diagnosis and treatment. Here is the early diagnosis of all the infections and their proper treatment. And if the child is suffering from diarrhea, then of course oral rehydration therapy, use of oral rehydration salt. And nowadays in the EPI program we have added also oral drops for the control of diarrhea also. Not all the health facilities and VHUs they are providing, but of course there are model VHUs where we have started giving drops of to prevent diarrheas. Supplementary feeding program, deworming, all these are essential things which will promote towards the health of the child, and of course they will prevent malnutrition in the child. So this finishes your topic of malnourishment in the children, especially infants and preschool children. You are supposed to go and search for all the statistics related to the children who are stunted in Pakistan, who are wasted in Pakistan, who are underweight in Pakistan. I hope so that you will do this work. Okay. Thank you very much for patiently listening my lecture. Thank you.